I'm back. I know it's been a few weeks since my last episode, but traveling put a shift into my routine of life. Trying to come back into this side of the world and having to shift from a 13-hour time change and just coming back to the monotony of life over here where, everything is about work. That's something that I realized so much when I was traveling is that these people don't live to work. They really don't. They live in communities where they come together, and the community, whether it be a family or filled with aunts and uncles or however that looks, they work together and the money is then put together so that they eat together, they parent together, they live together, and they grow together. I think it's interesting to see that when you are put in a situation where that is how you've got to succeed to live, it's an interesting dynamic because these petty things that we argue about diminish, because you see the value in survival and growth as a collective. And I was just viewing that from a small standpoint of people, right? Just individual families, but it worked. So when I look at those kind of things, I always think of the big picture and I'm like, we can apply this on a much larger scale. Like we can live in communities of like 150 people, and we can be there for each other. We can support each other and we can make it work. We can have a sustainable future that sees the growth and evolution of mankind from within. Because let's be real. I mean, going to Mars, this planet is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I was so grateful to see more of it. And I would encourage you to do that. If you're young and you're listening to this and you're in high school and you feel like school sucks and you don't know which way you want to go, let me tell you something. I don't even care if you're in high school, if you're in college. I don't care if you're 50 years old. This information is for anyone. Traveling should be just a part of life, a requirement. It opens you up to just how similar we are as human beings, but also just to appreciate the beauty of this beautiful place we call planet Earth is incredible. And then when ideas surface that we've destroyed it or corporations have destroyed it due to poor business practices because of profit, you start to think like, wait a minute, I'm going to speak up about that because this place is pretty beautiful and I'm not going to let corporations destroy it for everyone because I care about this beautiful planet that we call home. And I know many of you do too. It's just we're rushing through life so quickly that we don't even think about it. Or there's a lack of education in it because I learned that over there as well. Man, these countries are dirty. And I was only in South Asia. Like I was in Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. And these countries are dirty. And it's sad because everyone living by the coast uses the ocean as a form of life. Whether food comes out of there or they look at the food as money, one way or another. It's a part of their life, and these same individuals will throw plastic bottles over the side of the boat, and it breaks my heart because I want to take that bottle back and put it in the boat, and I did. And this is how I know the answer to this, is that they're uneducated. They don't know that the accumulation of garbage will affect everybody. The interesting thing that they did was they blamed other countries and other parts of the country they were in. In Bali, they were blaming Jakarta. Or in Thailand, they were blaming Cambodia. It didn't matter. They were always trying to push something off on somebody else. And let's be real, guys. I mean, this is something that we like to do. We don't want to accept responsibility and have accountability for our role in things. But you know what? The big picture of the reality here is that the planet is suffering. And we can look at corporations and we can want to blame them all we want. But let me tell you something, ain't going to get us nowhere because they don't care, right? They've built up these entities and these practices to do everything as cheap as they can for profit. They don't care how much garbage goes in the landfill and they don't care how much garbage goes in the ocean. To them, life is their bank account. But for the rest of us, which make up the 99%, we have this wonderful gift. We have this power to choose where we put our time and energy. And if we put our time and energy into viewing life through the eyes of positivity, we can make a change. And I learned this. And I've known this and I've practiced this in my own life. I only speak from my experiences. So You know what I mean? I separate all of the plastics in my home. I'm very conscious of not purchasing plastics if I can get around it. But if I can't, then there's places that I can take the plastics. I'll collect them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it may be. And I take the plastics all back to the recycling facility that will recycle them properly. Now, is it a ridiculous chore that I have to do? Yeah, sure. Because this should be just second nature. We should just be recycling things for the sake of the planet, because good Lord, we're not having conversations about these accumulations of mass amounts of garbage, but we know it exists. Because if we turn a blind eye to it, maybe it'll just go away. But just like in your personal life, when you go on your journey of discovery within, you can't just expect everything's going to get better. We have to take action within ourselves in our space, because our space is part of the collective. If we all took care of our space, man, that's going to spread so quickly. And it's so beautiful once you put that into your pattern of thinking. You think, I can affect the things I can affect in life. Your little change does make a big difference. It really does. Because it only takes a small percentage of us to really start to impact things on a global level. But we have to do that within ourselves. No one's going to change you. You got to do it on your own. And you got to do it because you value it. Right? It's within the value that everything comes, and that everything is just so wonderful when you see things in this manner. I mean, one of the things that just really held me back when I was traveling, we were in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam and Bangkok in Thailand, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And when we were in the city, you couldn't see the blue sky. The air quality was so bad. And I just, coming from this country in Canada, I look up at the blue sky and I'm like, there's no blue sky, yet it's a sunny day. And everyone was just so acceptance of the fact that, yeah, that's the air pollution. It's that bad all the time here. And I question, at what point when the blue sky went away, did everyone not stop and go, wait a minute? The air that we breathe is as valuable as the water in the oceans and lakes. Just as valuable as protecting the energy that we get from the sun, and just as valuable as protecting the earth. Everything works together. These 4 elements make up the ability to have this life and this experience, and yet we don't respect it. I mean, when the sky isn't blue anymore, everything should shut down. We have that power to make those choices to stop things. And that's just something I want you to remember. I'm just planting a seed here. This isn't going to change overnight, but over time, I'm going to plant enough seeds that you're going to water them, because the way I see it is we can do something different from what we're doing right now. And I know we as a collective can do that. I don't rely on anybody to do anything for me. If you know my podcast, 23 years, man, I did heroin. I did all the drugs. I was homeless for a set amount of time. People told me I'd never be nothing, And if I would have listened to them, then I never would have been nothing. But you know what? I made the choice to do something in my life and break free from those patterns and change the way I saw the world. And then the world changed. So I know the power of the things that I speak of, because I took back my power in every way, shape, and form. I think for myself, I feel for myself, and I do the things I want to do in life. Now, I also have created a philosophy within myself where I don't hurt the planet the best I can. I don't hurt people the best I can. I'm very conscious and aware of my emotions and how I react to life, because that's a big part of gaining your independence back. Is thinking for yourself means thinking for yourself. You don't let anything dictate how you move and feel. And it's a wonderful thing to be free within that. The quality of life that I have within myself is unmeasurable, because there's no limit to it. It's so beautiful. It's just so achievable. I'm not special and I'm not unique. And I want you to know, wherever you are sitting listening to this, that I appreciate you for listening to the episodes. People have been messaging me like crazy saying their lives are changing and the way they see the world is changing. And you know what? For me, when I hear and I read those things, that means the world is changing for the better, because we can see through the eyes of positivity. We can think for ourselves and we can choose how we want to react to things. And when people start telling me things like this, it's like, okay, I know we're going somewhere here, and we are going somewhere here, because what we're doing is we're going on a journey inward. That's what this podcast is about. Sure, I'll talk to many things that are happening within society and within cultures and all over the world, absolutely, but what it's really going to show you is that we're all the same on the inside. And once we start to see that, we won't look at each other as being so different from each other. Because something that I realized when I got back is people are tired. They're tired, they look sad, and they look depressed. And you know what? So I started asking people on the job site about how they were feeling, and the answers came back the same. Something was missing, because they're waking up every single day, they're doing the same thing, and they're expecting a different result. But you know what? The result of going to work every single day and not doing something you love means you'll garnish a paycheck. And that paycheck, when you get it, is pretty upsetting. We have a big problem. Like when you make good money and you have no money, we need to start having conversations about the quality of life. And something that we have a choice to do within our lives, if we're unhappy within our job, whether it's for the pay, whether it's for the people, whether it's for the work, it doesn't matter. You have the choice to quit and do something different. And with that understanding and awareness, immediately will come many excuses as to why you cannot quit. Because this is why you haven't done anything new in the first place. Quitting a job means trying something new. And more often than not, people are quite afraid to try something new, whether it's small, whether it's big. But the quality of life that you could achieve by trying something new is incredible. I always take myself as an example. I mean, sure, doing heroin is bad. Absolutely. We know this. There's no question about that. But isn't going to a job that you don't like every single day around people that you're not really fond of and you don't enjoy because they give you no passion and inspiration not the same thing? Living with a lack of love? That's quality of life, right? I chose to do things differently within my life because I chose the quality of life that I wanted to have, even within a profession. I was working for my buddy for a year. After a year, I woke up at 5 a.m. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it was wintertime, and I heard that rain hitting the window for the last time. And I told him, I went into work, and I'm like, this is it. This is the last day, man. I can't do this anymore. I can't wake up on your time anymore. I'm done, because I just had enough. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I had a pretty good idea I could start a company. I can read things. If I want something bad enough, I get it, as you can see with my addiction. But I always believe in myself. The main reason I overcame my addiction, the reason I was able to try something new was because I believed in myself. That's where everything started. And I never moved from that. I curated that within the core of my being, and I allowed that to make a home in myself. That no matter what, I was going to believe in myself. So it didn't matter what obstacle I came up in life. I believed in myself, and I knew that there was nothing that could get in my way that I couldn't get over or get around. And get around in a way where I would learn something. So, I weighed that. I weighed getting into starting a company, which I did. 2 months later, I'd read enough and I had some conversations around with some people. And I started a fire stopping company within Vancouver. It's a construction company. It awards me the benefits to be free, super free, leave whenever I want, do whatever I want, go to work whenever I want, and make as much money as I want. And to be honest with you, I don't work that much. I don't live to work. I didn't have much for the last 20 years of my life, so I was okay with less. Materialistic items aren't for me. It's a big thing that people end up working for in their lives. Now, I can appreciate if you got kids and you got a home and you got these kind of things. But if you're young, you ask anybody with kids and a home, if they rushed into things too quickly, 70% of those people are going to tell you they did. They're going to tell you that they wish they had the education to have spoken to someone about the responsibilities and the relinquishment of personal freedom that they would give to their family by making these choices at a very young age. And that's something we can appreciate and we can grow from. It's just wonderful education to know that if you're not in a position where you don't have all these materialistic attachments, then you're at a pivotal point in life that you can make wonderful choices, that you don't have to live to work for those things you finance. Because let's be real, if you were paying for it cash, money's not an option, but for most of us it is, So where you put your money Where you put your time, where you put your energy is everything, right? If you're working for things you financed, whether you got a car that's worth too much money, a closet that's filled with $300 jeans and $200 sweatshirts, take a step back and think about that. Are you working for stuff or are you working for you? Because when I go to work, I make sure that that money is used in a manner that I can grow internally and externally from myself. I've come to the conclusion that money is just a tool for spiritual unfoldment. The materialistic items are just an illusion. They seem to have been sold to us as an idea that we can obtain some sort of level of happiness or a place within society that would have us be better than others. But let me tell you, people with less have more. It's just a reality. Living here in a first world country, we're offered all of these means of materialism and people aren't happy. So use these examples within your life, because it's a very important thing to think about. Like you go to work, but what are you doing that for? Good Lord, don't be locking into a mortgage at $1 million, please. Then you're going to be working for that house forever. I can promise you when you're ready to sit down and have something in life, you'll know. You'll really know. Because you'll know it within yourself because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you're going to know what you want to do. And that's really important when you're talking about quality of life. I mean, knowing who you are is the first thing that will allow you to walk and live within quality because you'll have self-worth. And understanding that is just such a beautiful thing. So you got to go on that inward journey to find it. Allowing all these external distractions to come in, such as materialism, the cars, the clothes, the bags, the shoes, you name it. It's there to distract you from understanding and unlocking your power within. I was grateful that I didn't have, I lost everything. I think I lost everything. I don't know, man. Those last 2 years, I swear I must have lost everything like 12 times. And every time it hurt, it was like, damn, like I only got backpacks, man. Like I don't even have nothing. But we hold on to these attachments of stuff because they create an identity for us. And it was once I was free from that I was really able to see the gift of what that was trying to teach me. I was holding on to the emotional attachment of things because I was finding myself within those items. But when I was free with it and I was alone with myself, I was like, okay, who am I? I got nothing. I mean, I got arrested with a rope tied around my belt in a size 40 pants, and I think I was a size 30 at the time. So I had nothing. They had to give me clothes when I got out of jail, which was fantastic because it allowed me to go within myself and go, okay, like, who are you? Like, what do you stand for, man? Like, obviously, all of the bad patterns and behaviors in your life didn't support this person that you wanted to be. So in this moment, who are you going to be? And I chose to be somebody different. And I believed in myself. And above all else, I had to go back within my past and I had to heal from that. And the earlier episodes will help you understand how to move through those things, how to see life from a different perspective. Because I'm not special, I'm not unique, man. I came with a world of emotional traumas, of course. We all have them. That's what life is. Life is a struggle until we can be a collective that grows into a higher consciousness together. We have to move through the pain. That's the only way we're going to get there. We have to see that life's experiences happened for us so that they could bring us together. And right now we're in the age of Aquarius. So many people are waking up to this idea that there's something more in life. And that's why I do this podcast as well. It's to give you an awareness that there's so much more than this idea we've been sold on for far too long. Dividing, like division, seeing each other as different. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what color you are, culture, any of this, man. At the end of the day, you're a human being. You came from a place of love. You came to this place called planet Earth to learn things. And at the end of it, we all go to the same place, back to the place of love. That's how it works. So by seeing each other as being these separate entities or these totally foreign beings or alien beings from each other, it just causes more time to pass before we can evolve into this beautiful thing that I know we're heading to. But it happens on an individual experience before the collective can happen. And it's a beautiful thing when you do go through this journey within yourself because you start to see life in a totally different way. And it's so cool because you're free from all these objectives, all these ideologies. There is no more. You create your own. You live for yourself, and you're able to navigate life on your own terms. Another big thing about quality of life is who you surround yourself with. If the quality of life that you have currently is filled with negativity, filled with drama, filled with stress, filled with all these things that aren't good for you, take a look at the people that you surround yourself with. Because that is a really important piece of information and a wonderful observation to make within your life. And when we see life from that point of view, that the things that are not good for us are normal and they've become acceptable because of the people we surround ourselves with, we have the choice and the ability to move away from that. Right? Just like within a job, you have the choice to do whatever you want to do in life. You have the same choice to surround yourself with the types of people you want to surround yourself with. Now, a lot of people, again, are afraid of change. Well, if I change all my friends, I won't have any friends. Well, yeah, probably not. Because you need a period of time to go within yourself to change some of the things or become aware of some of the things inside of you that you want to work on. That takes time. And it's within that time, that period of stillness, or that period of what some call loneliness, is a beautiful thing. You've got to find the positives within all of the negatives, because everything happens for you, right? If you get caught up in just looking at all the negatives all the time, you're going to make excuses why unacceptable things are happening and personal growth is not happening. And then again, you're still seeking whatever it is you desire, but nothing's happening. The definition of insanity is waking up every single day doing the same thing and expecting a different result. The same can be said for friends, jobs, like all of these things. We have the choice to choose to do something different. We just have to accept that we can have the power to choose that. And it's very important. Another aspect I want to talk about is school. Kids in school these days, man. So many kids be going to university, college. And I met them when I was traveling. There were so many kids just, finished a 5-year degree or a 6-year degree or whatever it was. One guy was a lawyer. He was in there for 8 years. And I asked him, I said, so what's your dream job? You got this piece of paper that says you're something. What's a dream job? And they look at me and they say, I don't know. I said, of course you don't know. That's why you're here. And I said, that's a wonderful place to be. And they're like, really? It just doesn't feel so great. Well, that's okay. It doesn't feel so great because you're holding on to something from the past. But guess what? When you live in the moment and you question these things for yourself, you get to be aware of what you want to do. You don't have to lock in to this job that doesn't have any inspiration, no passion. You've got no attachment to it whatsoever. It does nothing for you other than pay you. You are in a wonderful position to be able to break free from that cycle, that pattern, and not have to go down a very difficult road and obtain those answers in that manner. Even if you're within a degree right now, take a step back and take a look around and ask yourself, are you happy? Does the thing that you're studying offer you passion and inspiration? And if it doesn't, question that. I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I'm sure the energy that I'm putting out right now, you can feel that. Because good Lord, man, think about this. They want you to do this job for 45 years. These days, they say retirement's 70. At 70 years old, we'll have enough that we'll be able to be free. So question that. If the job that you are studying for doesn't offer you passion and inspiration, then what's it going to give you? Money? Of course, you can get money doing anything. But inspiration and passion will never have you work a day in your life. And they give you money for it because you do what you love. And that's huge. We don't talk about that enough, doing what we love. So many kids these days, they try a job and they quit. They try a job and they quit. They try a job and they quit. And I say good on them. If you're bouncing around, trying new things all the time, trying to find something that works for you, good for you, do it. There's no loyalty anymore within jobs. Corporations don't care about the employee. It's not that good these days. Life is becoming very difficult. And it's something that we should be having a conversation about. Rather than trying to push kids or push people into following these old patterns our parents were doing 20, 30 years ago. Well, the money isn't good. Inflation is through the roof. The cost of living's out of control. And no one's happy. So if they want to bounce around and try a job, try 10 to 15 jobs, let them. Encourage them to do that. But bring an awareness to them or to yourself that you've got to be seeking something more than a paycheck. Because the paycheck is this attachment that we have. Yes, I understand that we need money in life. I get it. I do. I get it. But if you're happy cleaning toilets and you sing and dance every single day at work, you know what? If you ask me, you're successful. You have figured out life. You don't need much because your happiness is priceless. And that's a beautiful thing to come to appreciate within yourself. Because then there's no more standards of society. You don't care what people think because your happiness comes before anything. And that's not selfish, that's a requirement. You know, we don't practice self-love and self-care and these observations of life enough. It's something that we've got to really just shift our perspective on and allow ourselves to be comfortable with getting to know who we are and what we like, and allow ourselves to detach from materialistic items and become aware that, hey, I'm more than this, you know? Because the Gucci shirt that I put on when I step out doesn't mean nothing, because it's the man or the woman inside of there that matters, right? That's what I'm showing the world, is everything on the inside, except we've closed that off and we've valued this external more than anything. I mean, take beauty, for example. Like I met some girls, you know, and they didn't feel like they were beautiful. And I said, if you don't feel like you're beautiful, what does beautiful look like? Well, you know, skinny girls with a big butt and blonde hair. Really? Who sold you on that idea? Because that's just an idea. You know, that doesn't make no sense. Beauty comes from within. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of you, because when you shine and you step out because you have the confidence to know who you are, that's attractive. And everybody knows that. It's just we don't practice doing that. But I'm planting a seed for you, you know. Become aware that whatever you want, you can have. It's just whether or not you want it. And it's not just so much that you want it, because most of us do. We just don't know where to begin. But the things that I talk about will help you on a journey. And I'm not the only one talking about them. There's many other people talking about them as well. Because we're breaking down ideologies. We're breaking down programming, systematic ways of life. If you're looking at things that are making you feel insecure in whatever it is, job, relationship, doesn't matter, then remove those things from your life. If news does that for you, watching news or watching social media, remove it. You have those choices to do that. Because your quality of life comes before anything. And anything that holds you back, it's got to go. It's just the way it is, right? And we can do this with the utmost respect. If it's people, we can just be kind and say, hey, you know, I got to move here. I got to move out of this space because I'm going to try something new, you know? But I would encourage you to speak your truth and be kind and be respectful when you do it, because that's only to yourself. You know, if you're kind and you're respectful within yourself, then that's how you present yourself in the world. It's a wonderful tool to have that awareness and to practice. Because for me, I mean, quality of life is everything. It's like, well, what do we want in life? You know, like I go over to Asia where they have way less in materialistic forms, but they have so much more. They have so much more, you know, like they come together, a community, man. I never even knew like that could be a thing like that. Like the way it is over there, it's incredible. Everyone on the street knows everyone. The kids play outside. They got a huge problem with social media and cell phones. Absolutely, the kids are totally glued to them. But at points, you know, there's not enough cell phones for everyone. So you'll see groups of kids playing together, which is just a beautiful thing. And I think that anywhere in the world is caught up in this societal game of being distracted from where everything matters on the inside. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're living with a lack of love, you want to distract from that. So if there's an outlet there, it's just a behavior we've been taught to gravitate towards. So the behaviors that I speak of are gravitating you towards the ability to see distractions for what they are. They're there to separate you from going on a journey within, because the journey within will set you free. I mean, it's the key. It's the key to freedom, is just going within and being able to shut out the outside world, being okay with stillness, quiet within your mind, within your heart, within your soul. Once you quiet the mind, and I know many people say, oh, I can't shut my brain off. I can't shut my brain. I got all this stuff going on. I got all this stuff going down. Well, you gotta stop putting so much out there. You know, you gotta start saying no to things. You gotta start valuing your own time, your own personal growth. because the stillness that comes through that is just, it's remarkable. I mean, this connection to something more is so real, and there's no label for it. There's no name for it. It's just source. It's just this connection of source that we're all connected to. I don't care what religion or color or where you are come from in the planet. We're all connected to it because everything that matters happens on the inside. And I know that once you close your eyes and find the stillness, or find the stillness however you want, you find it walking in nature, or wherever you want, you will connect to this thing. And it's incredible. It's beautiful. It's just pure love. And you begin to see that love within everyone and with everything. And you really start to see that this way of life that we're living is just wrong, you know? Profit. Like, what? Like, profit? Are you kidding me? Money? It's just so ridiculous to think that we're living bound to a system where a very small group of individuals have manipulated this system 150 years ago, and the rest of us would just be cogs in a wheel in a machine, never really going anywhere. We would just be making people money who don't need it, so that there can be a sense of control and divide that happens. And I'm tired of it. I am absolutely tired of it. I know the people around the world are tired of it too, because it's 99% of us that are caught up in it. And it's a reality. You know, and we have the ability to do something different. We can change this thing. We really can. I mean it. Like, I know, I've seen the future. Like, I know it. And I've seen it in my heart through my mind's eye. You know, I know what it looks like. It's so beautiful. We all work together. Like, knowledge is just shared. You don't have to pave to learn something. That's ridiculous. Not to mention that schools are some of the biggest businesses on the planet, but they compartmentalize learning. You know, they compartmentalize you. Like, you should be, like, your mind is so powerful. It's so broad, but yet we limit it to such a small portion of information, and we don't have to do that. You know, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. So we can change this thing, but we just really got to see what we value in our lives. You know, make the changes that we want to see in our life. Become aware. It's not really about change. It's about awareness. You know, if you want to be somebody different, you can. You have that ability to do that because all you've done is learn from your past and learn from others. I would really encourage anyone that has an ability to speak to people that are older than them to embrace that. You know, a lot of wise information and a lot of education can come from people that have been on the planet longer than us. And I always ask them, like, you know, what's a piece of advice you can give me? And it's, you know, a lot of the things that I talk about. Because shared knowledge is everything. You know, shared experience is everything. I mean, even myself, like with sharing my story and talking the way I talk, this is how we do it, right? Like, I mean, this is education. I learned something through a practical application of things in my life. And I'm not saying that it's going to work for you, but hey, like, this is some of the things that work for me. If something you can take and you can adopt it in your own way that fits your journey, hey, wonderful. You know, that makes all the difficult things that I went through in life worth it, because it might help somebody else. And I would really encourage you to look at the difficulties that you face in your life, the emotional traumas that you've been through. And if you see yourself around someone who could use some education or some information, and you find yourself in a position where you're able to share, two things are going to happen. One, the individual that you share with is going to learn something. But the other aspect is you're going to heal. It was very difficult for me to speak about my addiction in the beginning. It was, I won't lie. It wasn't easy. It was hard. How do you step in front of a camera and, you know, tell people you just got out of jail, 23-year drug addiction, you know, you lost your kids and like all these crazy things. Sure, that's not how you want to throw yourself out in the world. But you know what? I practiced it. And as I moved through this, like, it's just, what a wonderful place to be, because I talk about it from a different perspective. I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid of it. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me, so I could share it with someone else because I made it through. And if you've made it through, you can do the same thing. And if you look at it and you go, well, I haven't made it through, I'm still held back. Well, why are you held back? The only thing that's holding you back is the emotions from the experience. So if we look at it from that perspective and we go, okay, you know, This emotional repetitive cycle that I've got myself stuck in isn't serving me no purpose. It's hard to break free from the experience, but you know what? I'm not moving forward. I'm not going anywhere. I'm living in the past. I got to see this thing from a different angle. Then check yourself. And that's a wonderful place to be when you go, you know what? I can see this from a different angle. I can take the education that I learned from whatever experience caused you trauma and maybe share that with someone else. Because that would make everything that I went through worth it, as difficult as it was for us. I mean, my road wasn't easy, let me tell you. A lot of crazy things happened to me along my way. Not all that I've shared of, some things you keep for yourself, but I do share them with individuals in the moment. I have shared everything that's happened to me when the moment presents itself. And I look for that, I look for those moments because I live in the present moment. Because I've chosen the quality of life for everything that I live. And you have that gift too. You have that ability, you have that choice. And if you're listening to this, I appreciate you so much. And I want you to appreciate yourself. Gratitude, man. Gratitude and kindness to yourself. You don't need nobody. We all think that we need somebody to fill this role in our life. You don't. Because you got to practice self-love and self-care first. Because if you don't have love for self, how do you authentically love another? Especially with children and things. If we didn't practice this ever in our life, or we weren't taught how to do it, so we never practice it, it's kind of confusing when we're trying to love our children because we're loving from a different perspective. Is it one that we've been taught by our parents that wasn't so good? There's no manual for parenting, so a lot of parenting in the past was not good. You know what I mean? Because there's no manual for it. So you got to really take a step back and really allow yourself to heal and allow yourself to become your own individual. At any stage in your life, please, for the love of God, don't tell me it's too late. I've heard that many times. People telling me you're too late. I'm like, how old are you? 30? I'm like, 30? It's too late? I was 36 when I got out of jail. You know what I mean? In 2.5 years, I've turned my entire life around. I have whatever I want because I chose it. You got to take calculated risks. You don't just jump into something with no knowledge and expect everything to happen. It's not going to work. Rewards come through action, and action comes through conscious thought. And those things are relative to each other. And that's how you have success within your life. And I would also like you to take a minute and define success in your own terms. What does it mean to be successful? Because so many people have this idea of what success looks like and what it should be for them. Success to me is defined through happiness. If you're happy, it doesn't matter how much money you have because you've got everything, right? It's priceless. The things that you hold within you, you can't buy. So just like I said, if you're washing toilets or you're scrubbing a floor, whatever it may be, if you go into work every day and you love doing that, because it brings you passion and inspiration, you're successful. You figured it out. Remember that when you guys are in school and you're in a job and you want something more, take a look at your life. You have the ability to do that right now, at any stage, and change it to be whatever you want and grow into the human you want to grow in. And you know what? Sometimes change is I don't know, that people say scary, but for me, I say it's exciting. I love it. I try and change up my life every 3 months. That's why I went traveling. My life was just, I was doing good here, making money. I'm doing this all the time. But you know what? It was no, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in this routine. I got to shake this up. And I shook it up. And was I ready for what I learned? No, I definitely wasn't. Even though I practiced so much, a way of life, oh man, I wasn't ready for it. But we never are. Because we have no idea what we're getting into. And that was so great. There were so many situations that happened that wanted to take my emotions, and some did. Some got me. And there were other experiences that happened as well that I wasn't too happy with the results of my actions. But you know what? I didn't let it get me down. I looked at it as education, just as I look at everything, because that's what life is, right? Life is just about education. It's not about failure or success, man. Success is defined by happiness. Failure is just temporary defeat. It's just an obstacle. You just have to practice a little more to get better at it. Don't give up. Never give up. Good Lord, don't give up. If you want something bad enough, man, don't let anything come between you and that thing. You just, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Never stop. Every time you doubt, you remind yourself who you are and what you want and what you can do and what you can be. And you put it into the world that you're going to do that thing and you're going to be that thing. No matter what. Don't let anybody take that away from you. Why would you give your power away like that? That's the thing as humans. We just chuck that power away like nothing. We allow these ideas to get into our mind when we don't think from our heart. Because if you look in your heart, I promise you, your heart will be for you all the time. That's how it is. That's how the heart is. You're one, and you're one with everything and everyone. So when we come out of our mind and we go into our heart and we look there for answers, you're always going to get some beautiful teachings in there. And it's honest and it's authentic. And it's just wonderful. Forgive me for the amount of time that has gone through with the podcast. It was a learning experience. A lot of changes happened within my life when I got home. And I have a lot more coming up as well. But I've committed a podcast a week. I'm going to bring guests on in the next couple weeks. I got to figure out the program a little more. And I'm going to start having conversations with other people. And the people that I'm talking to are going to offer wonderful insights into how to grow within yourself from their perspectives. I mean, everything I do is just shared experience, right? And I met some cool people that are doing some cool things that have, really changed their life. They've gone from one place and now they're in another. And that's really what I want to do. I want to inspire you to know that you can do anything, that you can change patterns, change belief systems. You can do whatever you want. And if I can share that through, my experiences, through other people's experiences, you can share that experience with me one day. You know what I mean? And please feel free to message me. My Facebook and Instagram and my YouTube are Real Talk for an Unreal World. My Twitter is Real Talk, 4 Unreal. And my Gmail is realtalkforanunrealworld@gmail.com. Please, feel free to message me. If you got something you got to work out, I've been posting up on my stories and people have been asking me questions and sending me messages and commenting. Please, I take time to do this kind of thing, If you got something going on in your life, let me help you see it from another way. That's what the human experience is all about. We're here to help and connect and share and just really be a part of that together. So that's why I'm building this thing. That's why I'm doing it. And this year I'm really going to do it. So I really appreciate everyone for listening. And please just be kind to yourself. I mean, that's where it all begins, right? It all begins within you, just allowing yourself to appreciate you for who you are. I mean, that you're a gift to the world. Each and every one of us are. And we just have to appreciate that. We don't have to think about what the world thinks about us, right? Because we are the world. If the world is inside of you, then just worry about you. And that's all that matters, is what's going on in here, right now. In this present moment. Never mind the past. Don't think about the future. Just think about this moment right here, right now, in this podcast, and appreciate yourself for being here and listening to something cool. If you know people that this podcast can help, or there's things that I talk about that you think that could help someone else, please share it. Help me out with that. I don't care about popularity and I don't care about money. I just care about getting the information out and really creating and starting something new. So much love. I really appreciate it, and I'm happy to be back.